You turned on? Everybody on? Everybody good?
So turned on.
Love that.
Neos, baby.
Wait, this isn't a Patreon
Yeah,
video.
no.
I'm hoping that Isaac's going to cut this.
Oh, no,
I'm gonna, that is going to do that, and I'm going to do. I wish I haven't done a really long time where I cut to our intro. Hey YouTube, we got Neos now.
Dude, this is a pretty exciting one. I know Isaac's really excited, which is why he's going to lead this whole one. Do we want to? I mean, if we do, Isaac has some things to say about our website.
I do.
Hey everyone, it's Isaac. If you want to support us, get merch, or pre-order the next set from GA, then you should check out our website. Over on our website, you'll find stickers, t-shirts, playmats, and material deck sleeves, and the next set of Grand Archive for pre-order. So make sure to check that out. Also, if you like content, then you should check out our Patreon. Over there, we have an exclusive podcast series, extra gameplay videos, and articles written by us to help your competitive gameplay. In any case, if you like what we do here on YouTube, then don't forget to like and subscribe as it does help us out a lot. Thank you.
All right, so first card, Torous Creations Will. Obviously, Neos. This is the level 3 Torous, the one from the main boxes, if you will. Torous lineage, 30 health.
He's a big boy.
He is a big boy. If you would summon one or more tokens, you may summon that many Arrow Steel Greatsword tokens instead. So instead of summoning a 1/1, you can get an Arrow Steel Greatsword token, which I believe is a 3/1.
Yep.
Then also, token weapons you control have sacrifice this object. Target weapon gets plus X until the end of turn, where X is the object's power. So if you made a 1/1 little token, instead you make a 3/1 sword, you can sacrifice it and bump up your Sword of Seeking, let's say, to be a 4/2.
Sure.
Just at the end of turn. Rating on this, I mean, it's a cool card. Personally, we haven't talked about the next one, the other one, but to me, this one seems like the weaker one.
Yeah.
I think the big pattern that I've seen is that the pack level 3s are like way on the lower power level.
Yeah,
than
the starter deck
starter
ones are better. And if you want to get the starter deck ones, you can check out our website, truechampiongaming.com, where we have a bunch of singles for sale from all the starter decks and sets. I'd give this probably, honestly, like a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
And I think that when token generation gets stronger, maybe in the future, it gets better. But right now, token generation feels pretty weak.
It's pretty weak. If people don't maybe respect it, and granted, tokens can, I think is this the only thing that's making tokens are a card from him, and the wind card, which we haven't talked about yet either on this channel. And a water card.
There is definitely, so I just want to throw it out there. Gathering makes tokens.
Oh,
So
interesting.
cleric cards that make things could potentially be utilized in a Tony
That's
deck.
very. I did
where you
not
gather.
know that.
I literally never thought
Yeah,
about
because
that.
those are tokens. So
I'm still going to give this a 2 out of 5.
yeah, same. I also will give this Tony a 2 out of 5. I do think it's cool. I know there's a card. I don't know its name, and we probably already talked about it. If you don't see this unless we're doing the advanced elements
We're
first.
just gonna do all first.
I think we're
Oh,
gonna do it
perfect.
will not have
Yeah.
Then
seen
you have
it
not
first.
seen it yet. But I think that there's a card that makes 2 automaton drone tokens.
Yeah,
It's
there
a
is,
Neos.
Yeah. Is it a Neos card?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
That's what I'm
Then-
saying,
then
though.
there
Like,
you go.
You have to be level 3. You have to use a card that you're sacrificing the effect of that card, and then you have to load all your attack onto one big swing that you're hoping is going to get stopped.
Feels pretty rough.
I'll tell you what, Guardian does feel like a lot of big swings.
Yes.
And we'll talk about those soon. But
Yeah. So next one is Torous Genesis Aegis.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
Which is, he's a big boy, Neos, the level 3, 30 health, Torous lineage. At the beginning of your recollection phase, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Summon an obelisk of armaments token, summon an obelisk of fabrication token, summon an obelisk of protection token. I'll put all those
I was going to
ones
say, I
over-
bet he puts them right here.
Yep, all over the screen, over our faces or something, because I won't have enough room. This is cool. If you haven't seen those tokens, or take a look at those tokens, read those tokens, understand those tokens.
So another really cool thing, too, is that it says choose one that hasn't been chosen. If this champion leaves your lineage stack, let's say it D-levels with that fire card, for example, or, just whatever, the innervate cards as well. If you go back into it, you can choose fresh options.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yes.
And I'm excited about it.
Yes. So this is clearly, like, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 just because I think Guardian is strong, and this is just obviously the one that you play.
Yeah.
You're going to see it. You need to know. And I also give it a 5. And it's not even because of that. It's because of the 3 tokens that he make, I think are absolutely cards you have to know. You have to know exactly what he can do in certain situations because they are very different.
Yeah.
And depending on what situation Tony is in, he can do something to help him in that situation.
For sure.
Very, very strong cards. And on top of that, they all help each other. The more he has out, the cheaper they are to use.
Yeah.
And if he has other ones out too, look out. They're coming.
Domain, Tony.
Domain Guardian.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Next card is Akron Broadsword. Sorry. This is from the starter deck, just so you guys know. It's a 1-cost 2 attack, 2 durability, Regalia Weapon, Guardian Sword. As additional cost to use this weapon for an attack, pay 2, and then class bonus, it has +1. So it's a 3/2 for Guardian.
For each token you control.
+1 for
Holy
each.
moly.
Yeah, yeah.
For each token you control.
That was an important thing to add to that.
Yeah.
Because that makes it a lot different.
Yeah,
I was reading, I was
yeah.
like, I
Oh,
thought
because
this-
wait, what happens when he brings out domains? Are those tokens,
They are
Isaac?
tokens.
Wow.
From his ability.
Yeah.
From his level 3.
So
yeah.
that means this gets bigger every time? Wow.
Every turn. Yeah,
He gets a bigger sword every turn.
Oh, do we rate the other ones? Wait, yeah, 2s on all the other ones and 5 on
And
the other
5s
one.
on
Okay,
the
other
this
one,
guy, what would you give it?
So it's kind of, it is very interesting. I think that this sword is incredibly powerful, and the fact that it has 2 durability is kind of nuts.
Yes.
It does cost 1, and I do also want to add out, this is one of the few that costs 1 out of your regalia that does not instantly draw you a card.
Yes.
Because most things that cost do replace themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is important to note that this you do have to pay 2 for each attack.
Yes.
So
That is important to
you
know.
can't just
Not something that we see on weapons very often.
There's
at
one
all.
other weapon.
And honestly,
Norm.
I understand why.
Yeah.
Because this thing can hit for a lot.
This is basically Erendite Azure Blade buffed.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah,
You know what I
do
mean?
not need to set.
Like-
this
like,
needs way less.
I don't mean a
setup.
better version of Erendite. I mean it's an Erendite that kind of
It's-
almost
yes,
guarantees its buff counters.
Yeah, sure.
You know, that you're not using a bunch of resources to get into. You're just
No.
bringing it out at a later point in the game, but it's already basically guaranteed to be
And
strong.
depending on how like Guardian actually gets played,
Yeah.
who knows how many tokens you actually have as soon as you hit level 3.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
might have a lot of different ways to build up tokens. And-
Yep.
Yeah, so what was your rating?
Oh, my rating was, I think it's probably going to get played in most. So I think even with just his ability on Genesis Aegis,
Yeah.
so probably pretty close to a 4, man. 3, I guess.
I'm just gonna give it a 3.
I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah.
I think you already, if you go level 3 and then next turn go into this,
Yeah.
so you only have to wait 1
You'll
turn
have 2
after you hit your
tokens out.
advancement, you already have your 2 token domains guaranteed. That's now a 4-cost attack with nothing else.
Yeah.
Only reason
Pretty
why I say it's a 3 is because I feel like there's something else you want to bring up before this, maybe.
Sure. Okay.
And so I don't see it like. I guess it's included in most Tony. I guess we include it in all Tony decks.
Yeah, probably a 4.
So maybe it is a 4.
It might be a
by
4
our
because
standards.
of that. Yeah.
Because it probably is in almost every Tony deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Next card is Sentinel Fabricator. 0-cost regalia item guardian device. Pay 3. Rest this. Summon a token with a buff counter. So it makes it 2/2 for 3. Now that's not great value, but you're not losing a card from hand. You're not losing resources. So it's excellent.
Creating a card every turn.
And it's
It makes
0
2/2s.
cost, and
Yeah.
it makes your Tony domain's abilities cost less, which is a big deal because it's a token. Isn't it his? Or is his
No,
domains?
it has this. This does make it, because isn't that a domain? That regal.
yeah.
Yeah,
go down.
this is a regalia device item.
Yeah.
Yeah, the domains. Oh no, this
Each
is for each
domain
domain.
you control.
Okay, my
Yeah.
bad.
I think it's a pretty good card. I think it's probably our best token generator card.
It's definitely continuous.
It's continuous. It's your best way to reliably get tokens.
Mhm.
I still think it's a little weak.
2 damage does end the game. 2/2s are nothing to scoff at.
No,
1/1s
for sure.
are, like I joke, they die to a Dream Fairy.
Yeah.
But 2/2s, and if you're making your sword bigger too, because it keeps making it, it does add
Yeah,
that
it's a sword.
inevitability.
And that's
for
why
sure.
I think I bring up this first and I go into Akron Broadsword.
Sure, and I do like that it can basically be done at fast speed, right?
Mhm.
So it's great because if you're sitting there, you're waiting to interact with your opponent's turn, and they go, okay, pass, and they didn't do as much as you thought they would. You can go, okay, well, at the end of your turn, tap, create a token, and I didn't have to waste any.
I think it's good because also there's several cards in Neos in general
Yeah.
that also not just play around tokens, but just play around the number of things on your board. and so this gives you 2 things
Sure.
on board.
If it wasn't Neos, I think this would be a 5 out of 5 card.
For sure.
100%.
But the fact
yeah.
that it is Neos, you have to already be level 3 and get this out, and
Start
then
making
you're starting.
tutus.
Yeah, like I feel like to really get the value out of this, you're just gonna lose to a cleric that's doing better late game than you are.
What was our ratings? Sorry.
3, maybe
Probably
max.
another 3.
I'm gonna give it a 4 because I like tokens.
Sure.
But it might not be as good as 4. Next card, Amorphous Strike. This is a great one. So, class as a 3 cost 4, deal 4 attack, Guardian Sword. Class bonus on attack, you may banish an attack card from your graveyard. If you do, Amorphous Strike gets +X, where X is the banished card's power. So this already has 4. So if you banish, let's say just not Savage Slash. What's it called?
Sudden Steel.
Sudden Steel, but
Heavy Swing.
Heavy Swing. That's what I'm thinking of. Heavy Swing, which is a normal card. We'll give you guys a little flash of that. That is 6 damage, so this becomes 10 damage for 3 if you had that already swung with that one time. Crazy amount of damage in one swing that kills a lot of things pretty much in the game.
Yeah, if you are playing attacks in Guardian, which you probably are, this is definitely an insane attack.
Yeah.
I also want to say that with the last card, I changed mine to a 4 because it is a win con. It does end the game in theory.
Sure.
But anyway, back to this card.
I read this card like it's Slay the King, except for instead of trying to cheat out another material that card, it's just trying to win the game instead.
Yep.
And for that case, I mean, we saw Slay the King have use. You know, like I think that this is kind of a better version of Slay the King, honestly.
It lets you get
I think it's a better
you get to
payoff.
reuse some of these cards that are just
Exactly.
there.
Yes,
You can use
yes.
these 2 cost, 4 damage attack things that we've seen to kill an ally, and then that card basically also reads later banish this card for champion damage as well. And it just makes your cards in your deck already better.
Yep, for sure. It's a definite 4.
I'd say 4 for sure.
Definitely a 4.
Next,
You could even argue that
It
it's
might
a 5.
be a 5. It might be a 5.
I know.
Because then you have to always play around the fact, oh shoot, this makes graveyards more active.
Yep.
This, like Neos, if you're playing against Tony, you go, oh, I'm not playing Scavenging Raccoons.
Yep.
Because you can't just change the element to stop this,
The
right?
only reason it's a
No.
4 because I think there might be one slightly better.
Sure.
No.
Yeah, there is one that's really good.
But this is why I don't like that first Tony. It's
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you can just run cards that do what that's trying to do,
Yeah.
but instead you get the way better Tony effect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure, with the first Tony, can you get a 20 damage swing? Yeah, but that's
Potentially.
just putting it even more risky into
Yeah.
something you're trying to do. being
Too much
stopped.
comboing.
All right, Isaac.
So Exodia. Except for you have to wait a turn. Exodia vibes. So assemble the ancients. I saw this card. I woke up when this card was released, and I saw like, oh my goodness. First of all, I didn't really read that as rested units, or you had to rest them. But let me read the card. So assemble the ancients. 3 cost slow action guardian spell. Sacrifice any number of domains, then summon that many automaton drone tokens. Those tokens enter the field rested with amount of buff counters on it equal to the amount of domains sacrificed this way. They gain vigor until the end of turn. So, if you have 4 domains, let's say 3 domains, because he gets his level 3 just gives you 3 over 3 turns. Over, technically, yeah, whatever, 3 turns. This makes 3 4/4s because tokens are already 1/1. So this makes 3 4/4s. They are rested, but the end of turn they restand. If someone tries to sweep them, they're probably going to take a lot of damage. If you have more domains on board, just to help you level up in general or whatever it might be, you're obviously going to get more tokens. I think it's a really cool card. It is kind of the game a game ender, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's
yeah.
just it feels awkward because you have to wait 4 turns almost to get it to become a game ender.
Well, it just
Sure.
depends on your deck. If
Yeah.
you're playing domain controlled Tony, and by the time you hit 3, you've played 4 domains.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then you level up, slam this, and now
Yep.
you literally ended the game, went from being on the back foot with all these domains to having lethal damage on board.
Yeah, you
looking
might
at them
see
in the
this
face.
card played the turn you go to level 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a chance, depending on how you play and what you do.
Yep.
It does 100% give you a reason to play some of the domains that you will see in future videos. The ones that aren't that exciting, but are definitely ways that you can put cards down to level up
Yeah.
and get little incremental advantages.
I almost like doing the advanced elements first.
Yeah,
I
it's kind of cool.
I think this has been a better way to do it
Yeah,
this time.
it's kind of cool. What do you think?
I just hope I'm not dying before the time I play this. But I want to give it a 5 because also the art is so cool to me. I love the art.
I mean, it is something you have to be thinking about at all times when they're playing all these derpy domains. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die to a bunch of ancients, dude. They're going to play a bunch of tokens. They're going to sack all these useless domains. Because even, think about it this way, even the domains that you play that maybe, like, let's say they're meant to fight off, because I can't think of all the domains off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But if you have one that really does help against an ally matchup, and then you play against Arasana, and she plays no allies, you still get value out of these cards that are dead, which is really good. Being able to utilize cards in your deck still, even when they're dead. Because think about, like Incinerate, Fractal, and Fire Merlin did not feel good if you were playing against Rai, right? It just did not feel good.
Yeah.
And so, like, that being said, like, sure, it gave you a Fractal, sure, it put cards down, but, like, there's way better ways to do it. This is like, yo, okay, this card isn't going to help me that much right now, but it is going to give me that extra damage when I need it.
100%.
So,
I can get that.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is sacrificing domains cost?
Let me read it one more time, and I will tell you.
Any number of domains.
No.
Okay, I did not think it was cost, but that was very important. If that was cost, I probably would have given this card a 2 or a 1.
It would be unplayable. Yeah. Definitely a 1.
I think...
Because holy counterspell.
Yeah, I think this is probably a 3.
Yeah.
At best.
I'll give my 5.
Yeah.
I'll give my all. I believe in this card.
You know, it's silly, but I actually am also going to give it a 5. Because,
I'm giving it a 3.
And the reason being is just because it's something you always have to think about. It's a way you have to know that at any moment, if you're playing against Tony, he could, if he has domains out.
Yeah. It's going to make people play the card that says you can destroy a domain. I think it's like raise the lands in normal.
Yeah.
It destroys a domain, and people are like, do I have to put this stupid card in my deck for against Tony?
There's a few outs to this card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There are.
But next card. This is all. I say all these are cool. So Clockwork Amalgam, which is a 5-cost Neos Fantasia Guardian Tamer spell. So class bonus. So if you're Guardian or Tamer, you know, Alan Neos in the future, you know, obviously. This card costs 2 less to activate, so it only costs 3. Clockwork Amalgam enters the field as a copy of any ally or weapon on the field, except it has, at the beginning of your recollection phase, you may return this object to your hand. And Terry clarified something for me in our Patreon video, that when this is entering, before it actually has entered, it becomes that card. So stuff that has unentered, like, let's say, Drawn Blade, because it's a simple thing, it would become a Drawn Blade, and then it enters fully, so then the on-enter of Drawn Blade goes on the stack, so you draw a card. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it becomes, I mean, this can...
If that's wrong, Eggnog, let me know. But I'm telling you it's not.
The only issue is specifically with Drawn Blade does have a class bonus, so you wouldn't actually get to draw a card.
Right.
The point you're trying to make is correct, yes.
But also, I'm sorry, 3-cost horse, anyone?
Trust Steed?
Well, no, I meant Majestic Spirit.
Oh, yes.
Your opponent has a Majestic Spirit, this can copy it. It's any ally or weapon, it's not ones you control. So, any on the field, I should say.
Do you want to say it is a spell?
Yes.
So, something to think about is if something does have Spell Shroud, it shouldn't be able to hit it, I don't think.
Correct.
So, good to think about
I can't copy their crawl.
You can't copy their crawl.
It's unfortunate, which is funny because it's Tamer spell, actually. It's kind of funny. Is it played in every Tony deck? It's really... It becomes a domain, too, if you need another domain.
Ally or weapon.
Ally or weapon. Does not become a domain.
Domain would be good. If it was domain, that would be a 4 or 5. But in the way it is now, I think that this is a very strong card. It isn't out to a lot of situations. You could even do things as dumb as like, okay, let's say you're getting your face smacked by a Lancelot.
Okay.
Right? And they have a Lancelot on the field. You can just play this, copy it.
Rested?
Oh crap! It would, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So this isn't gonna work. So let's say a Gildas,
okay.
Because this is gonna balance you most of the time because it'll be a 3, right? So
They
they got a Gildas.
Cool.
Yeah, so they have a Gildas. They swung at you. You're like, oh darn, how am I gonna deal with this Gildas? I have no removal. Oh wait, Clockwork Amalgam. Make my own Gildas. It's balanced. Kill theirs, and then I get to bring it back if I want to at the beginning of my next recollection.
If it doesn't die.
If it doesn't die, right? It's probably dying if it's Gildas because come on, Gildas loves to die.
So ratings was
Probably like a 3. I don't think it's going to be in every deck. I don't know, though. It's very strong, just in general. It's an answer to Majestic Spirit out the gates. It makes you have to...
I've had my rating in my head the whole time, so this is very funny to me.
It's funny because, like, copying stuff...
I want to give like every card like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Even though I know in my heart in my head it's not, but my heart says otherwise.
Sure.
Dude, I don't know. Let me think for a second.
Isaac? I don't want to give mine first.
No, you won't.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah, I think that it's a card that you
It's played in most decks.
definitely could see it played in most decks because just being an out to Majestic Spirit alone,
Yeah.
or like at least a way to fight against it, is
And
pretty
A
good.
future card coming up that
Yeah,
they can copy.
yeah, it can copy a lot of really exciting things. It can copy a Dream Fairy, something as
That's
basic
cool.
as that, and then just get rid of something. Okay, it's at least a 4. I'm gonna say. Honestly, I am going to, by our ratings and how I talk about it, I don't think that this is a freaking best card in the format, but because of what it is and what it can do, I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
Because I think that you have to
Don't you dare say
pay
2.
attention to the cards that you play when you're playing against Tony. You're going to have to think about, okay, can I leave this card out?
Sure.
Which you're going to in most situations, but like, maybe you can't.
They have an Erendite.
Think
You
about,
steal their Erendite
dude,
and you
think
kill
about
them.
if you have Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I got this board built in Carter, and they're just like, oh yeah, check it. Boom. Anyway, what do you think, Kevin?
I'm going to give this 2 ratings. I'm going to give this
2-star.
That is his first rating. 2-star.
2 ratings. One is going to be an R rating scale of,
Yeah.
how meta defining it is. And I agree with Terry. I think this is a 5 in meta defining. It provides a crazy side of Torous gameplay for you and your opponent that doesn't really belong in his class, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think for that, it's a 5. I also want to give this a sealed vacuum rating, just rating the card on how strong it is by itself.
Sure.
I think that this is probably one of the most or how do you say that? Not underrepresented, underappreciated.
Valued.
Undervalued, thank you. I think that this is one of the most undervalued cards in the entire set. I actually think that this could be like top 3 cards from the whole set.
Wow.
I think that's me going on a huge limb here.
Yeah.
You know, like I could be opening myself to some huge ridicule here, which is fine. That's what these are for, if we're being real. I think that that's actually one of the best cards in the whole set. I think that I could do a whole video on just that one card.
Oh,
honestly, I think
definitely could do a whole video on that card.
yeah, I that's why I had to smile, because I knew that neither one of you guys knew what I was going to say, and I think that that's not one of those cards that people are like, oh wow, that's like top 3 card for that set. I don't think many people are.
The more you think about it, the better it gets.
I know.
It is.
The more we sat here, it was like, oh crap. Like,
it is
there's
honestly
this, there's
an
this.
absolutely insane card,
Yeah.
and the best part about it, you don't have to run 4 of it.
Mm.
That's what I love about it so much. Its strength is in you finding 1 copy of it.
Yeah.
That is all you need.
Mm-hmm.
You can just throw that in any Torous deck, in any quantity that you want,
And it gets used.
and it's going to give you so much utility.
Yeah.
I love that card.
It's pretty cool.
Next card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fractal of Creation. 2-cost Mage Fractal with reservable. We've seen fractals before that we know what those are. When it comes, you can tap it to pay for the cost of stuff. You can also sacrifice this one, and you summon a token copy of a target token you control.
That's pretty good.
I think it's pretty cool. Tokens-wise, the domains are unique tokens, so you can't just straight up copy those. Unless you want to sacrifice one.
You could sacrifice the one you already used.
You can get another effect, basically.
Yeah.
Because
that is how the unique rule works in this game. In case you guys didn't know,
Yeah.
if you have a Gildas on board and the only way you could balance a Gildas is by playing a Gildas, you could swing for 1, play a Gildas, get rid of that Gildas, and swing with the new one.
So you can copy a domain one of Torous' 3 domains, I should say specifically. Of course, can copy like a buff token. Is this a 2-cost fractal?
I mean, 2 to replace itself is fine. It's a little bit of a bummer that obviously this is in Neos, but it is a very strong effect.
Yeah.
Something to think about this card is the strength that this card gets as this game grows.
Yes.
Because the
Yeah,
more
for
tokens
sure,
that become available, the more things that we see happening. But think about how strong this could potentially be as Tony, but as the sword token Tony, and being able to either make more swords offensively, or if you're playing in a Tony mirror against the Tony deck that's making those domains, making your own version of that
that's
domain.
my thinking was
oh wait, it's taught you control,
yeah.
so you can't do that, but you can make more swords and attack offensively.
Yeah,
which could be kind of cool.
You're paying 2 to
do
get
3 more damage.
3 more damage. It's
not terrible.
You're paying 1,
and you're paying 1 because you can play this.
Yeah.
You tap it to do
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
But we're talking about a 2 out of 5 Tony. Okay, so but I'm just trying to give him a little bone. All right.
The flavor text is power only constrained by imagination.
Yeah.
I'll give my rating first, and this might be because it's following what I think is one of the best cards from the whole set. 2. I think this is 2, and it does absolutely, like you said, Terry, have potential in the future.
Sure.
But I wouldn't even put it on like the top cards of potential for the future from this set. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
It's kind of cool that at any point you could like push little extra damage that people aren't expecting, right?
Yeah.
Like you're using this to pay for cost of things, and at any point you could just get a 2/2 on board token, and then just get like 2 more suddenly. You know. Although that being said, my rating is not higher than a 3 for sure. I'm trying to figure out 2 or 3.
I think it's pretty currently. I think it is going to be more Fringe played. I don't think this goes in multiple Tony decks. It probably goes in a very specific Tony deck.
I'll give it a 2 because with our rating, it means right now it's not at its peak, but as things go on, it doesn't have the full support it needs, but it definitely can.
Yeah.
It's definitely a strong card. So I'll give it 2.
Yeah.
Is that yours as well?
Yes.
Okay. Next card.
I know you love this one.
Elemental. I need to make this work because I want it to work. Which is a 10 cost 1/1 Ally Guardian Elemental.
That
Now,
sounds
hold
so
on.
silly.
Hold on. As a class bonus, this card costs 1 less to activate for each token object you control. So if you're Guardian and you have 3 tokens on board, this still sounds really bad. It becomes a 4/4. Sorry, yeah, 4/4 for 7. Because it also says Neos Elemental gets +1/+1 for each token object you control. This does have Hindered, so when it enters, it will be rested, but it has Steadfast, Taunt, True Sight, and Vigor, so it will restand. It has to be attacked by physical attacks, and Steadfast means it can retaliate against all of them without resting, or if it was rested, it can also retaliate still.
Yep. Steadfast means you don't have to tap it to
Correct.
I thought it was only you could
both.
retaliate when rested.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, it's both. It's dumb.
So Neos Elemental gets +1/+1 for each token object you control. That is a constant effect. So if they ping off your little guys,
Yes.
this gets smaller,
Yeah.
which is kind of a bummer.
But it's nice because it has taunt.
It does have taunt, so I was
It
thinking
protects him a little
spell
bit.
shroud or spell damage stuff.
I
with it.
just love that if they want to kill it and they have to swing into it with like 2 or 3 things, you just kill them all with
Yeah.
that Steadfast, which is pretty cool. And then at that point, it might have been worth it, right?
I think
So-
everyone's dream is trying to get this to cost 1, and you have a 10/10 for 1. I think it's like literally everyone's like,
I mean, that would be crazy.
no. That's everyone's dream. It's like get this massive vibe.
Yeah.
But that's not what's going to happen.
And the wild thing is too is that this is not a unique ally.
Yes, correct.
No.
Most likely.
Wow, imagine the world where it costs 0 and you have multiple in your hand.
40 damage
That's the
for
dream. That's the dream
Well, yeah.
right there.
You have to get a lot of tokens on board. Remember, it says token objects, which is really nice. So Tony's 3 domains do count towards this.
Yep.
Yet another reason why that Tony is just so much better.
Now that-
Tony's weapons count towards it too. The other Tony.
That's true.
And the Fractal makes more tokens to go towards this.
That's true.
We're pumping out elementals, Isaac. 2.
3, 2.
I'm going to give it a 2.
I
I think it's a Fringe. I think that there will be a deck that plays
It's very
this, and you
Fringe. It's very,
absolutely
very Fringe.
have to know it's there, and you have to respect it. But there's cards currently that cost nothing, very little, 3 or less in like fire elements, so not even an advanced element that will ping everything for 1. So if you have a bunch of 1/1s, they're getting smacked.
there's a cool column I'm thinking of right now, but I still think it's at best a 3.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm just gonna give it a 3.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Nice.
Specifically of one card that we'll get to in our wind, which you guys might know in our wind review. So, next card, Neo Sight.
Ooh, another sight.
All the sight cards. So 0, of course. Fast, of course. Mage spell, of course. Draw a card, of course. If you control 8 or more objects, draw a card into memory. So objects are literally everything. It's more than just units. It is fractals, it's domains, it's tokens, it's whatever that is on your board in
Your
front
champion.
of you, your champion. Those are objects. So that sounds like a lot. It's surprisingly easy.
I mean, it might as well read 7 or more objects because you're always going to have a champion out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
If you're Tony, you at least level 3 when you're playing this. You'll have 2, guaranteed. So now you only need 6 more. You could have an ally. You could be a couple more turns in. You can literally just play this the cycle as always. That's the nice thing about sites. It is once you have that, you are just plus oneing, right? Which is cool.
I like that the sites can +1
Yes.
kind of like naturally,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool in this set. Whereas
Yeah.
like Crux Sight, if you had 2 Crux Sights, you could, you know, well, I guess technically you could do it using its ability, but
Crux by itself was
yeah,
a +1.
as long as you were utilizing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why it was the strongest site.
Right.
Sites are always good.
Yeah.
They're always good.
You probably put.
Sites
it's a
are
4.
almost always
you're
going
gonna
to be
see
a
this.
4 or 5. Yeah.
If you're playing Tony, you're playing Neo Sight because it's a potential for a +1, and at worst, it's a cycle.
Yeah, it's potential to refill your hand. So
Yeah.
I mean, 4 or 5. They're it's not meta changing.
It's
Yeah.
a site card.
Yeah, it's
5.
good. Yeah. I'll throw up some star rating on the screen there. 4.5 overall. Skip all of those because those are all the things we saw earlier. Provoke Obstinance. 3 cost, fast, Guardian spell reaction action. This is class bonus. Whenever you activate this card, if there's exactly 1 target for its activation, draw a card into your memory. So you don't have to do that, but if you do only target 1 unit, that's what you get. Up to 5 target objects, sorry, I said unit, objects, you control gain Spell Shroud until end of turn. Prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to each of those targets this turn if they're units. So this can protect your domains, can protect your weapons from things that target them with that is a spell.
Regalia.
Yeah, your Regalia,
Allies,
tokens, Fantasia.
Tony.
Yep, anything.
Your big elemental.
Yep, and give them Spell Shroud.
It's cool.
Up to 5 too, and prevents. And if they're units, if you have a bunch of tokens and you want to protect them from dying or little unit tokens, you can actually prevent 2 damage to that is dealt to
Man,
them
imagine
as well.
how backbreaking it is if like you have a Regalia that's going to win you the game as Tony, and someone tries to kill it with, you know, any Regalia hate that we have, and you just go provoke Obstinance, and they took a whole turn to try to kill that thing to like put them back in the game, and instead let's say you just protected that,
Yep.
and you stop it
And
and draw a
replace
card. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
dude. That's, this is the first of its kind. We don't have a card that protects things like that.
Yep.
It's an easy 5 out of 5.
Yep.
I'll go with 5.
I don't think there's anything like now that adds a whole nother aspect to this game that we didn't have.
I love
So,
how much just like object-oriented stuff it is. Like, where it's just like it protects stuff on
Super
board.
cool.
Like, it's cool. Yeah.
ooh, I love this one.
So this is the card where I didn't give the other attack a 5 because I think this is the 5. Smash with Obelisk, which is a 3 cost, 6 power attack Guardian Obelisk.
that alone is nuts.
3 cost, deal 6.
Yeah.
No other requirements. But actually there's a requirement to use it. As an additional cost to activate this card, sacrifice a domain you control. Then Smash with Obelisk gets +X, where X is the reserve cost of the sacrificed domain. So most likely is a 3 cost domain. There are some 4 cost. Is there a 2 cost?
There's a 2 cost
There's a
domain,
2
yeah.
cost. Okay. So 8. Yeah, 8.
His domains are technically 3 costs.
Yeah,
aren't they?
his are 3.
Yep.
So
The
it's
tokens are
8
3
to
cost.
10 damage. Most likely you're guaranteeing. What?
Most likely 9.
Yeah, most likely
Yeah.
you're guaranteeing 9. So you're getting 9 damage with stuff on board that you're already going to be creating as you're going to level 3 or once you hit level 3. So 3 cost deal 9. Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it again just makes the first Tony so bad.
Yep.
Because it's like,
And now this bumps up the Amorphous Strike or whatever it was.
Yep.
Which now deals 10 damage.
You know how good Song of Frost is in a world where this
I
card
know.
is at the
That's
top
all I keep
of the
thinking of it.
peak,
Is
dude.
Song of Frost is amazing.
Oh
but
my god, because they
do you know
and they
how many
have
cards? There's 4 of these cards and 4 of Amorphous too.
I know.
And
They have to sacrifice as a cost,
I know.
which is like brutal.
Which is why I think Amorphous becomes better, because then it's like, shoot, my Smash with Obelisk whiffed real hard. Let
Unless-
me still get some value out of it with Amorphous.
unless
Yeah.
that's your whole plan. Like your whole plan is just you don't care about those domains. Ever.
Right.
You don't play around them at all because they do cost a lot to activate.
Sure,
and you have to play around building up those domains. But like every
fair.
turn, I can get 9 damage, 9 damage, 9 damage.
Yeah. I get that.
They're on par, but this one aesthetically is cool in terms of like thematically. Where
I think that this is an easy 4. I think every Tony deck is going to be playing this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people are going to be playing the sword token Tony. And if they are, this card's insane in their deck anyway.
Yeah.
So like they're probably going to play it. But like in the normal Tony deck that makes domains at the beginning of your recollection, this card's insane.
This is a lot to ask for in the other Tony. That you're not planning to play many domains because you do have to sacrifice a domain to play it.
Because think about it, if they don't stop this, I mean, and you play back-to-back once, that's 18 damage in 2 turns. Like,
and level 2 has an attack that deals 3 damage, so you're going to be playing around that too.
Yeah.
So
it's real. It's a good card. I'm going to give it a 4.
4. A solid 4.
Yeah, very good 4.
I guess not meta-defining, but taking 9 damage almost really easily.
I think if you were going to give a 5 to attack, it would be the other attack because it actually makes people have to pay attention to your graveyard and the cards that are there. Whereas this is like, sure, you know about this card. It's that good, but like it doesn't change the way we play the game. It's so easy, dude. It's an easy 9. Easy 9 damage for 3. Triple your damage for what you pay.
Yeah, 4, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I gave both 4s. So
fair. I think 4 is a good.
We got one last card. Summon Sentinel.
Oh, hey. We found it.
Yep, it's the last one. 4 cost, Neos course, slow, Guardian skill action. Class bonus costs 1 less for each domain you control. Summon 2 Automaton drone tokens, each with a buff counter on them. So this will cost 3, most likely, bare minimum, because you get one when you go to level 3, if you're playing the right Tony. Most likely it'll cost 2, I feel like, pretty on average when you're playing this card, at least. So 2 costs for 4 stats. Not bad. They also are tokens, so they can buff your elemental that we were talking about earlier.
And reduce the cost of it.
Yeah, and reduce the cost of it.
I think in domain, Tony, this card is nuts.
Like pure control domain Tony, where you're running a ton of domains. You're just trying to do everything you can to get to the late game, and then eventually you go summon sentinels, summon sentinels, summon sentinels, elemental swing.
Yeah, like something dumb like that. You know what I mean? Like that. There is a world where that's real.
Yeah.
Like that's not that crazy.
That's why Neos Elemental is such like a high praise, and why I wanted to give.
Thank God it's hindered. Thank God it's hindered, dude. That card would be insane in a deck with abusing summon sentinels. If it wasn't hindered. I mean, it's still
crazy because it's like, dedicate your turn to doing this, and sure it comes in hindered, but then you have really good defense for your next turn, so you're probably making it another turn.
Those cards are good, dude.
Neos is cool.
Neos is 5,
I'm super
4,
excited.
5.
Neos is cool.
Oh,
Astra's cool.
That card, dude, that card is. I'm gonna give it a. You might even play it in non.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be played in the other one because that one's gonna play
some
kind of domains.
It's probably a 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the meta. You're making a couple of 2/2s,
yeah.
but
Right.
you can do it for almost free or free sometimes.
It's a great card.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a good 4. Solid card.
Yep.
4.
So this is the one thing I've noticed, which is a little annoying, but I feel like Guardian, every card is good. There are not a lot of cards that are like really low on my rating scale. They're all very playable. None of them were on like the fringe of being like non-competitive. I think that all of them have their place in a certain Neos build.
I can understand that.
Yeah. And maybe that's kind of the same for the others, but
weird
I felt like there was Ranger cards we were doing that were like...
Ranger felt like the weakest class for sure.
Yeah.
If you watch the Ranger video, you can hear me say that many times. Yeah. Astra felt like every card was great, except for maybe 1 or 2. Was like, this probably won't see play. This one I agree. I can understand why you're saying that. I think in a vacuum scale, though, there's definitely quite a few weak cards.
Yeah. I think if we go just off ratings, off of the cards from this, nothing from the other sets yet, just the advanced elements. Although I think that once I know everything, I think Cleric will probably be inherently, if played correctly, the strongest. I think that just off advanced elements, for me, it's Tony, Arasana, Diana.
Something really important to note, too, and you can tell this if you look at the starter deck recommendations, Tony's the easiest class.
Yeah, that's
coming out of this set.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's in your face strong.
Yes.
And it's just
because every card is face value.
Yes.
It's there. This is what I do.
You get it. Stuff gets reduced by tokens and domains, or gets stronger because of tokens and domains.
So I play tokens and domains and go smash. Like
and it's strong.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with playing an easy deck either. Trust me, I'm most like we're all like ready to start testing Tony.
Yeah.
Neos is cool.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Guys, we are so excited to continue doing these with you. And if any of these cards excite you, I know we already talked about singles on ours, but even if you don't want and you're a person who likes to stick to what you know, we have started partnering with TCG Player, and we do have an affiliate link below. If you guys use that on your purchase, it helps us so much. And that's a way that you can help us without having to join Patreon. It's just you buying cards that you would already buy, and they don't have to be Grand Archive. They could be Pokemon, they could be Magic, they could be anything. But we would greatly appreciate, guys, if you would check out the link below.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Yes.
Yep. On to the Water, Wind, and
Oh,
Fire
yeah,
and
man.
Norm.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys soon, all right?
Peace.
Peace.